Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be taking you on a journey to learn computer hardware maintenance. Kindly stay with us. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, our viewers. Good afternoon, students. Welcome to today's edition. Last week, we were able to capture assembly and disassembly of CPU. But today, we are moving to uh, the new objective, which is maintenance techniques and system optimization. So, as you use your system, you should have in mind, you should inculcate the maintenance techniques. Otherwise, where you find industry spending more than the income, you know what it means? So, and the cost of all this is much nowadays, unlike before. So, we need to make sure we maintain both personal maintenance and the work maintenance, including home. We use some appliances we need to maintain. Otherwise, we'll always be falling on the other side, which um, we are trying to avoid as much as possible. And the other thing, we optimize too. Whatever you have and you are still using, and you need to optimize them so as day in, day out, they will be fit for usage. So that's the purpose of optimization. Is what you already have. Once you maintain it, then you optimize them. When we talk of optimization, it could even involve we upgrade to, instead of going for another CPU, you can optimize the one you have. How do you go about that? If you have a system, a laptop running a low memory, RAM, a low hard drive, you can optimize. Instead of throwing it away to get a new one, why not upgrade it? Optimize it. If the memory is 4 gig, say, then you can put it to the 8 gig. If your hard drive is the conventional hard drive that runs on the magnetic spin, then you can go for the SSD, the one that uses solid state drive. You go for it. That's part of optimization. Then what are now, at the end of the day, we should be able to identify the basic safety precautions. And we should also know how to optimize our PC system and how to also maintain based on our maintenance schedules. And at the end of the day, we know how important this safety and in both hardware, uh, how important it is, and what is the result if you are able to abide with all these precautionary steps. What are the results you have? Let's go straight to it. Basic safety precautions. So you look at the basic safety precaution, we are going to emphasize more on ESD. What is the ESD? Which is electrostatic discharge. And look at electrostatic discharge is the sudden flow of electricity between two objects. You know, and look at these sudden flows can actually damage things. Like for instance now, you plug in your system and you discover immediately before you even plug in, you have you felt that the voltage is very high. Then you need to take the precautions. The voltage is high, definitely you should not try to put on your system because the voltage is not balanced. Because something can actually happen or trigger out something. Once the voltage is very high, then it will go straight and destroy some components, which will cost you more to fix. So this sudden flow of electricity, the abnormal flow of it is not the normal one, it's not the usual one. It happens even in human beings. At times, our body reacts. So all these things, they also happen in the CPU. So like in the RAM, at times you discover that a RAM that works yesterday stops working today. Some will tell you that it expires. Something actually happened which you may not know. At times you touch your RAM, you discover that the RAM is getting hotter. And don't forget, we define the full meaning of the RAM, as we have said earlier, that is random access memory. And we said it is a what? Is a volatile device. What do we mean with that? By now, you should be conversant with all these terms because we have explained them deeply. RAM, immediately you put your RAM, you install just as we did last week. We assemble and disassemble a system. We've shown to all that we have the RAM. The RAM, immediately you put the RAM, you install other peripherals as instructed. Then you turn on your system, the RAM will start its work. But once the light goes off, the RAM will stop working. That is the work of the RAM. Then if you use a RAM yesterday and nothing happened to the system, you turn on your system today, your CPU or your computer laptop, you turn it on, you discover it's not coming on. And at the end of the day, you are able to get that the fault is what? The memory, the RAM. Something actually spoils the RAM, which is what? The abnormal flow of discharge. It actually spoils the RAM. Then in the next, when we get to the next or our final topic or session, we'll get to know what are those things that will actually let you, the results, which is the cause and effect. This is the cause, then what is the effect? You get to know more that the effect when the RAM is spoiled, this is what will happen. So that you get familiar with this. Then the CPU itself, the more we shown ourselves, the motherboard, we shown ourselves, the processor, your processor stops working. What actually happened? May likely be as a result of this. Your motherboard generally stops working. What actually happened? May likely be as a result of this. And your power pack, which converts AC power, DC, it converts AC power to DC. This is the power pack. You can see the AC power comes in and it converts it to DC, which is direct current that will be used, that the direct current that will be used by the what? Motherboard. So that is the effect this might have on our gadget if care is not taken. Then what are the safety precautions that we have to take? First of it is make sure you wear an anti-static wrist strap. An anti-static wrist strap. Or touch a grounded metal object before what? Handling this part. You should make sure you don't just, if you look at, for instance, the power holding people, what they do, they put on hand glove. It's a rubber-like, and they never put their legs on the bare floor because they know what the reaction, the effect, the consequence of such will be. So they take their own precaution very well and work on a non-carpeted surface, as we have said. Work on a non-carpeted surface so that you realize that if care is not taken, you put your bare foot on the floor and touching electric. That's another safety precaution you have to try as much as possible to avoid. especially all these things, they are iron. The bodies, they are what? Iron. They can react at times. They do react at times due to that. Whenever they are connected to light and your leg is on a bare ground, you must have observed this, but you may not know what actually triggered this is as a result of that. That is why we don't put our computer system on bare floor. We normally put them on tabletop. That is the main reason. It's not just for fun. Then make sure you unplug the computer before opening it. Unplug the computer before you open it. Disconnect it from anything called light. It is so important. That is the first step. Even when we get to the next stage, we'll explain more. When we get to troubleshooting, we'll get to know more about this step. But in a nutshell, try as much to disconnect every part connected to it, and never work in a wet or humid environment. Make sure you are not working on a wet surface. That will make it riskier, because if you are doing such, you are trying to endanger yourself, and it means if you have been doing that, you have to stop that. So you have to what? Stop that. You may not know before, but now that you have known, please try as much as possible to avoid such. Use proper tools. See, use what? Proper tools. Don't use tools that, look at this. This is plier. It has its own function. This is flathead screwdriver. It has its own function. This is a Phillips screwdriver. It has its own functions. So do not use, this is an Allen key. It has its own function. Where you use this is different from where you use this. This one has a rubber bound edge that you can hold, which means you should not hold these iron parts so as not to endanger yourself. So you use proper tools, non-magnetic screwdrivers. Non-what? Magnetic screwdrivers should be used while you are dealing with your desktop system. Is it clear now? Yes, it's clear. And use an ESD. We have told ourselves ESD safety tools, which is electrostatic discharge. Because at times on this system, we have shown ourselves the last time. We still need to look into it. This is a card. We explained the card the last time, that we have this PCIe card. This is what? PCIe card, which gives us what? Look at this expansion. It provides an expansion. Look at this. This CPU does not have the HDMI, but if we put this device in our expansion slot, it will provide this for our use. So we now realize that all these capacitors, they have the voltage they supply. At times, voltage will contain in a particular capacitor will not move. So we should use an appropriate tools to discharge them so that it will not have effect on our what? Devices. Are we together? Yes. That is the basic safety precautions. So which we have explained, including ESD. I emphasize on ESD because it's so important that we take note of it. Then we move to how do we now clean and how do we now optimize our PC system. And so where we are now, we can clean our the cleaning tips we are going to use. We clean the, what's it called, the exterior part. We try as much to clean it. Use a soft cloth to clean the external part, because once the dust is accumulating, it will definitely get in, which is coming from outside. We are not talking, we have the dust from inside, and we have the ones that are coming from outside. Because it's not every time you use your system, if the system is not on, some dust can come in through some of the open parts. So we try as much to clean it day in, day out, using a what? Soft close, which is for what? The CPU, and for monitor, and for what? Keyboard, and as well as mouse. Are we together? Yes, we are. And for the what? Interior part, we should what? Use compressed air to remove dust from from what? From the fans. We shown ourselves the cooling fan the last time. You can also use your brush, but make sure it is soft one, not the one that will be so hard and can have effect on the cooling fan. Let me open it again so that we can see. We said we should use, okay. So we have to try as much. We clean our fans, clean the fans, clean the one here too. Make sure it's clean. Do not pour water into it. We made mention that for the exterior, we should use a wet, not you go and dip it into water. No, it should just be wet, so that for the exterior. But for the interior, you can use brush, you can use a compressed air. You understand? They are what we can use. And make sure you try as much as possible to avoid water touching any of the elements. Are we together? Yes. Avoid direct contact with components unless necessary. These components, they are so tiny. They are so tiny. Avoid it. You can see. They are so tiny. If you play using screwdriver to play on them, anything can happen. They have FSB track, which can also get damaged. And if such should happen, it will have effect. So we have to take these precautions very well. And you clean the what? Air vents and ensure proper airflow, which is for this. Try as much so that the air will go in and will also come in without dust, um as we try to avoid that as much as we can. So we have talked about how to the cleaning tips, both the interior cleaning tips and the exterior cleaning tips. Then we look at the software optimization. We have said it. How do you now optimize your system? How do you optimize? Is what you have, is what you are using. Why dumping it for another one? Because the other one you are going for, there will be a time it will also the same thing will happen to the one you are getting as new one. So why not optimizing the one you have? If you have an outdated software on your system, kindly remove them. Unwanted files, unwanted templates, try to what? Remove them. Your recycle bin should be what? Clean once in a while. Any file you are not is not any file that is not in use, make sure you delete them appropriately. And always clean your recycle bin. All this will enhance your system. It will optimize your system. Remove unnecessary startup programs. Any programs that when you boot into the system, the program will just come out and you don't know where they are coming from. try as much to what? To remove them. Uninstall unused applications. When you connect to online, some applications will be installed, maybe knowingly or unknowingly. Try as much to remove them. Uninstall them. Use this cleanup and defragmentation for your hard drive. Make sure they are removed. You don't need them. Always watch your disk space. Your disk space will be shown in my computer. Check your disk space. No, have you actually done up to this? Why is this jam packed? Why is it like this? Then you check it once in a while. And check for malware, viruses. Try as much to install an antivirus, though it costs dearly, but it has its own purpose. Try as much to install antivirus, because as we move to online, we come in contact with virus. At times, the virus is used to protect their what? Precious files. You wonder, and you go in there, you contact the virus unknowingly. How and what is the result you see on your system? Your system malfunctions. Your system works the way it should not have worked. Then you should know something has actually happened. You are seeing different files. You ask yourself, from which source? You are seeing different folders. Your file is turning to folder. Your folders is turning to shortcuts. You should know something has actually happened. Ensure OS and drivers are up to date. OS and operating system installed on your system is what? Is up to date. The commonly used OS here is Windows. Make sure it's up to date, and make sure your drivers. What is the driver? The driver is what? An enabler. Like when you have a sound which is hardware, there must be a complementary software which is what? The driver. Where you have your wireless, there must be a complementary software that enables the wireless. Where you have your Ethernet or your LAN port and you want to use your LAN cable, if the driver is not installed, your LAN port may not function. In that way, try as much to install the necessary and the compatible drivers, because you cannot just go online and popping your systems with different drivers. You can cause the operating system to malfunction due to that. So in that wise, know the appropriate compatible drivers, which is what the driver simply means, the software that enables that hardware to work effectively and efficiently on your CPU. And in that wise, we are able to what? Give ourselves tips on maintenance and how we can actually optimize our what? Our CPU. And you look at this, for instance, you optimize your monitor, your CPU, and the memory usage. As I have said from the beginning, you can do that if there is high demand. Sure, there will definitely be an high demand due to over time. If 1 naira is enough for you, there will be time 1 naira will not be enough for you again. So if your system is solving a particular problem today, tomorrow may not have the ability to solve the same problem, then you optimize your system, which is the core reason for this session. Then apply maintenance schedules. You have to try as much. You should have your what? Maintenance schedules. How do you schedule it? Like dust cleaning, which is an internal, should be done every 3 or 6 months. It's okay. Every 3 or 6 months, try to clean it. Check your PSC, which is your power supply peripheral. Make sure it's in good shape. Make sure it's working normal. not until when it gets or when it develops fault. Once you are optimizing, once you are maintaining, once you are checking it every time, it will always be ready for use. And for software, updates monthly or as needed. Software will always pump up and tell you update is available. Go for it. Try as much to update. Otherwise, why every new software or every new operating software comes out, you hear Windows 7. For instance, we are taking Windows as an example of operating software because we have two types of operating software. We have system software and we also have application software. But we are not going into the application software. The system software, which is an OS, you may be hearing OS. That is the meaning, operating software. We have different operating software, but the one we use more here is Windows. So you look at Windows, they have different versions, right from the Windows Me, Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows 2005, Windows Vista, Windows 8, Windows 7. We also have Windows 10, and we have Windows 11 and Windows 12. Before you know it, you ask yourself, why is these versions growing and growing? Why do they keep creating a version upon version? It's because of our demand. They realize that the demand is now becoming higher. The graphics they inbuilt, the graphics they input into this operating system is becoming higher. The demand to it is becoming higher. That is why. Otherwise, we will have been on the same OS, but the demand will keep growing and they will also want to meet up with demand. That is the reason for that. Then antivirus scan. Please try as much. Scan your system. Use the antivirus to always scan your system at least weekly. If not weekly is okay, or you put it monthly, try as much to scan your system because you go online every time and every day. Just try as much once in a month or weekly. Do the what? Scan with what? With your antivirus. And you need to do the disk cleanup. Part of the disk cleanup is delete unnecessary files on the hard disk or on your solid state drive, as the case may be. Delete them, go to your recycle bin and empty unnecessary files. Hardware inspections. You check on your hardware, your cables. Look at your cables. Check the cables, the SATA cable. Look at it. Is it well connected? Look at the cables. The power supply unit. Is it well connected? And the cooling fan. You check on them. The e-zinc and everything. You check on them. Don't forget, we also mentioned about paste the last time, the thermal paste. So the thermal paste too used to dry up, and at times it will be so dry that you need to clean it and you apply a new thermal paste. Try to check and observe these once in a while. At least you do that in 6 months. I think it's okay. Every 6 months. Try as much and do that. And make sure, the last and not the least, backup important data. At times, if they say data is life, yes, data is life. There are some data you may not come across again. It's only once in a while. Once you lost the data, you may not come across the data again. Then how do you now back it up? You can back up through several means. We have storage devices, your external drive. You can back up. If you have an external drive, external SSD, flash drive for backup. But make sure your backup is also frequent. Do it frequently or unscheduled. Maybe every month I back up. I have a particular, a very bigger in size storage that I usually use for my backup. So if there is anything can happen to your day-to-day system. The system you are using every day, anything can happen to it at any time. But you know your what, your data, your information, your files are safe. You can also back up in Sky using iCloud. You can back up to your Google Space and the likes. You can back up. So you don't have what reason not to back up. Okay, if that involves using data, then use the one that doesn't involve data. You can buy your external drive, you can buy your external flash drive, which you use to copy and back up your work. That is what we have for ourselves today. And the safety is so important that it has to be taken so it has to be taken importantly. So you have to address it importantly. In fact, to all the device generally, to the printer, do the same thing on your printer. Use a soft cloth, not the one you put in water. You can just apply a little content of water on it so as to just clean the body. Avoid the water touching into the what important parts. Your modem too that converts your data and allow you to browse, make sure you clean it. And your printers too, clean your printer, your CPU, clean it as we have explained, and your monitor, clean it too, and including the keyboard and the mouse. Every gadget, they are what? Important. You may say they are not important until you miss them. When you lose them, you know how important they are. So we try as much to avoid that. So in a nutshell, today we are able to capture maintenance techniques and system optimization. I think we have actually captured everything in the book. So therefore, the next week, which is our next session, we'll go into trouble. We have been saying it. We'll go into troubleshooting by God's willing. With this, I hope we can say we can call it a day and draw up the curtain till we meet next week.